Evening, everyone. Good evening. Today is Sunday. I think it's the 16th. I don't I think it is the 16th. I pray that you are blessed, well, healthy, well rested, that you've gotten everything that you need to do. And I hopefully your to-do list wasn't a lot on this beautiful Sunday. I've rested the entire day. I just had me an Epsom salt bath. I smell like apples and mangoes right now, so I'm happy. But I pray that you have all that you need to go into this beautiful new week that we're about to embark on. And I pray that what I am about to get into next help you go into your week with even more clarity, possibly if you need it. You never know who needs to hear something. So today I want to touch on boundaries. Boundaries and how they are sacred and not selfish. This is something that I've had to teach myself, that I'm still sometimes coming to terms with because, like I said, when you are a recovering people pleaser, shout out to my ex people pleasers out there, and shout out to my current people pleasers as well, because you can learn, like, everything happens for a reason. You can learn lessons from that, but to anyone that is still people pleasing, please choose yourself. People are never pleased anyway. You do something good, it's like, yay, you get affection, you get a pat on the back, you get yay, 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 thank you, yeah. In the moment you don't, it's oh my gosh, depending on the person. I feel like a person that truly care for you and not for what you do, but for just who you are, and it's not just looking to always gain, take. They're not gonna do that. But to anyone that may have people around them or a person around them that make them feel like they have to do something even when you want to say no, please understand that you are not selfish for choosing what is best for you. You are not selfish if one day you want to rest and someone's asking you to go around the world and do this, that, and the third. You're not selfish for that. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I say this with so much love to myself and to everyone else, because, like I said, this is when I'm speaking to the camera here, I am speaking to myself as well. um, what brought this message on was really just like, I really just sit here at this point and just go over what God has brought to my eyes in my life, and what self reflection has brought. Boundaries have been something I've been working on over these past, I'd say 2 years now. Goodness, this years are, well, it's not going by too fast for me because I'm more present than I used to be. But basically, I started this journey last year in like February or March. So it's going on. It's going to be 2 years eventually. But of setting boundaries. And first, when you are a recovering people pleaser, it's crucial to kind of take a look into where those tendencies came and how they started. Now, everyone is different, but a lot of things start from childhood. Like, a lot of things start from childhood because that's when your core values are, for the most part, getting kind of like structured together and whatnot. Like, for example, I think there's a study that shows, I could be wrong. There's a study that shows like the music that a child listens to between the ages of, I think, like 11 and 14 or 12 and 14 or something like that is what usually shapes their music taste. Like, basically, you everything is being shaped. Yes, things can change. Of course, your core values can change over time, but that usually takes it takes some work. Like, I've been putting in some work over this past year. But mine started for me, like I said, I think I know I've said in my previous hold on. I know I've said in my previous episodes, I spoke on how, sorry, I spoke on how in the past I didn't want to be a burden, especially when you're witnessing people in your life, especially your family that you love, going through things already on their own. So from a very young age, I started to try to make sure I wasn't adding to the weight, even though my existence is never a burden, it's not a cost, and I had the right to be all that I was. Like, I was never a burden, but, and I say that to my inner child now, but at that time, she did not know that. So, instead of like being a burden, I wanted to be the person that, like, the good child or whatever. Like, I got good grades, so my mom didn't have to add that stress to her mind. I didn't really bother her for any extra wants or anything because I didn't grow up having everything financially. Um, I didn't, like, if I were to go through something, like I was getting bullied in school, I think I mentioned it, but I didn't go into depth of how bad it was. Um, just because I didn't want to be an extra worry on top of the worries that, she already had to carry as an adult and being a single mom of four kids. So I know someone out there can relate, even if you have a completely different story, just to kind of give a rundown on mine. That's where mine pretty much started. Like, the people pleasing tendencies not being too much. I dimmed my light. I dimmed my worries. I dimmed, even when I went through a depression at the young age of like, what, 16, 17, between those times, it wasn't really known because every time I would go through something, I would go through it in private by choice. And then when I felt okay, when I felt like, okay, I can go back to the world and I can be everything else for everyone else. It's just so, it's crazy. Like, just like sitting here saying this too, because like I've already realized these things. I've already journaled about it. I've already sat and reflected with it. But being where I am right now and being evolved to where I am and who I am right now, I just look at the past versions of me with so much love, and I would just go back and just hug them. Oh, that's pretty much what's in my mind right now. Just like, oh, baby girl, you was just going through it, and no one knew. But I was like 16 to like 18. I was going through depression, and I didn't know I was, but like I really didn't know. It was very high functioning depression. Like, I was still that person that everyone went to, the therapist friends, to my friends at school, to my family. I was still actively going around happy and laughing. Um, it was very high functional. So in that process, I started feeling like I had to show up a certain way in the world. Not in a sense of being well, no, I'm not even gonna say it's not in a sense of being perfect, because perfectionism is directly attached to people pleasing half the time, and I am someone that had to overcome perfectionism. um so I didn't really have boundaries. Not in my relationships, which I didn't date much growing up, but the relationship I did get in around that time was a huge contributor to, well, probably like 50% to my depression. um but even at that time, I didn't have any boundaries really. And boundaries teach people how to treat you. You're not selfish for saying, I don't want to deal with this or I don't want to do this. Like, for me personally, there's not a selfish bone in my heart or body, my mind, my body, my soul, nowhere. So, but I know I've been called selfish, especially in within these last few months, I would say, because the people that have known me all my life, or people that have known me at least for like the last 5 to 10 years or whatever, they are used to the person. Not all, not everyone, but most people are used to the person that was just doing, 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 giving, giving, giving. I will always show up. I'm the dependable one. I'm the one that everyone can call and can count on when there's something that needs to be done or handled, or if they need to talk, whatever. It don't matter what it is, quite literally. It does not matter what it is. Have always been there. And that will always, like, I will always be a loving person. I will always be a giving person. But the difference between now and who I like between now and who I was is I give from a full cup only. If my cup is not full, how can I pour into anyone else's? Yes, I was pouring into other people's cup in the past when it wasn't full, but I wasn't happy. I thought I was. Like I said, sometimes you can get comfortable in what's familiar, no matter how much of a hell it can feel like. um, so yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't really present. I wasn't pouring into me, and I don't care. And at one point, I will always say, I wish people showed up for me the way I showed up for myself. And that is a very lonely feeling because being everything for everyone, the therapist, the go to, the dependable one, the one that always shows up, the one that's always there, it's like half of the time those people, and speaking for myself and for people I've known that are also like that, half the time those people don't have that same support in return. And it took me stepping back from overdoing and overgiving and people pleasing and not having like and actually setting boundaries and saying no when I actually wanted to say no, and not just saying yes because I'm, for I people expect me to say yes. Taking that step back really showed me I didn't lose anything. I actually gained so much. So the fact that I didn't lose any support really showed me I wasn't really getting any support anyway. Like, and I'm not saying that the people I've done things for have never done things for me. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying though is I've never benefited from overdoing and overgiving. So it's like, what's the point? And I'm not saying that you should do everything in life for a benefit. I'm not saying that. But if it depletes you, if it makes you abandon yourself, let me just use an example. It can be so many I can use, but I'm gonna use one. It's just let me see. Let's say someone wants you to buy a car in your name for them, because that is a very common thing. And that is a huge ask. Let's just use that example. Someone asks you to get a car in your name for them. In the past, they may not have had the best history with their own cars, with their own credit, or whatever. Um, you want to say no, but you're scared of how you are perceived and oh, well, this person did this for me once, and it may not even be as grand as this gesture, or it may be even grander things they have done, but they did it possibly from a full cup or whatever. Or maybe they are also someone that is comfortable with abandoning themselves for the sake of others. It's common. It's very common, unfortunately. Um, so in that process, you're just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. The moment you say yes, when you don't want to do something, you're immediately abandoning yourself. And for me, I was abandoning my inner child who felt like she had to do so much to receive validation, to receive affection, to receive acceptance, whatever that may need to be attached in that moment in time. And unconsciously, I was showing people how to treat me. Because, like I said, boundaries are sacred ways. They're sacred I love yous to yourself. They're sacred ways to protect yourself and your energy and your mental, your emotional, every aspect of you. And they also they teach people how to treat you. If you give people an inch, they will take a freaking mile. They will take 50 football fields. And I say this from experience. So there, if you're just like, okay, yeah, I relax my boundaries or just have none at all for this situation, people will test the freaking waters. It's like sticking your toe in the pool or whatever, ocean, whatever, seeing how hot, how cool it is. Just as you're not jumping straight in. People are gonna be like, okay, if she let me do this, I stuck my toe in. then I can get away with sticking my whole ankle in. And if I stick my whole ankle in, I can stick the whole leg in. If I stick the whole leg in, I might as well just jump in at this point. That is exactly what setting boundaries or not having boundaries is. And ugh, like I said, this has been something that's been on my mind over this past week. I mean, like I said, it's been a course of 2 years now, but over this past week, God will definitely send tests. We're in this past month, since this month started, God will send tests, not even in a bad way. Like life will test you in some of the best ways possible. Just, to show you your growth and how far I've came. This past week has shown me how much I've evolved into just putting myself first unapologetically without caring how I am perceived or without I'm an empath, um, and I have a lot of spiritual gifts along with that. That is also a spiritual gift. So I feel people's energies strongly. I can walk in a building and feel the intentions and the emotions and the tension that's in the building itself fuming off of people, whether if it's good energy or a little bit of a energy. I can feel it all. I can feel things before. I can feel things that are not said. I can feel things before they are said. I can feel things when the whole room is silent. So hear me when I say, as an empath that can feel all of that energy, I've had to learn how to not only set up physical boundaries, but energetic boundaries, because that energy, it can attach on to you. And I don't want to carry anyone's stress. I don't want to carry anyone's anxiousness and anxiety. I've done that my entire life. Like, knowing now how to have boundaries and to have so much self love for myself, and also self awareness, because everything starts with awareness. You can't start having boundaries without being aware that you didn't have boundaries in the first place. So everything starts with self awareness. Let me see something. I'm cooking my sweet potatoes in the oven. But when I became aware of the energy I was taking on, I was like, okay, 90% of the stuff that I be feeling is not even mine. And I've had this over this past week. What day was it? Friday, Thursday, whatever. I was emotional. I was anxious. I had anxiety. I was worrying about things I don't normally worry about. 'Cause I don't give any of my energy to worry at this point. I walk by faith and not by sight. But I was just, and now I was crying. Well, I'm a crier. Well, I'll cry. I don't cry all the time, but like it's easy for me to be brought to tears. Like, I'll see a sunset and be brought to tears. I'll see a video about a dog and just be brought to tears. Like I let my emotions flow freely, and I love that about myself. Um, so I was crying and I was like, okay, something needs to be released because I feel the urge to cry right now, and I just allowed myself to cry. And it took me really sitting with myself and reflecting and realized, babes, there are people around you that are currently stressed and are anxious and are having like just you're feeling the energy of others. And I had to like, okay, let me still hold compassion and empathy, especially when people are talking to me and telling me about things they're going through. But it is not my job to take it on. Everyone else's burdens are not mine to carry. Everyone else's weight is not mine to carry. Everyone else's life is not mine to carry. And for so long, I used to feel like my part of my purpose was, which is far from my purpose was, a part I used to think part of my purpose was helping other people see, like, one of my gifts is I can look into a person's heart and eyes and see their potential of their highest self. I can see the what a person could be if they just locked in, and not even locked in and like, oh, I need to do this, that, like not always in that place, but it can be whether if it's healing, whether if it's loving themselves more, whether if it's doing something career, whatever. I can see the highest version of someone and what they could be. And for a long time, I would pin a lot of my relationships on that potential and not for what was being shown to me. I'm being led in this direction for a reason. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of went left or right, whatever. Um, I was clinging to people's potential to the point where I wasn't even realizing my own potential. Like I wasn't even up to my own potential because I was so busy with like putting that energy outward. You know, now I put it inward, baby. Yeah. The potential I was seeing in other people is really the magic that I had within myself. And I want someone needs to hear this. It's coming out for a reason. If you are someone that clings or sees the potential of everyone else, that is a direct reflection of your beauty and how you see the world and how you see others. Everything is a reflection to us, love. Like, if you walk outside, whatever you project into the world is what you get back. If you walk outside and you just see beauty and love around you, you look at the sky, you appreciate everything, like just whatever. Or you like uplift people when they're being down. That is a direct reflection of you. And it took me so long to realize that for myself. Like the love, the magic, the potential, the abundance. And not saying that other people don't have this. I'm not saying this because there are like you see it for them too. Is it everyone has it. Everyone holds magic. Everyone holds abundance. Everyone holds love. It just takes them to see that. And I used to feel like my purpose was to show people their highest potential, which it kind of is. My energy can either intimidate someone or it can make them rise, one or the other. But I no longer make it my job. I no longer feel like, okay, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. If someone asks for advice, sure, I give it. But if it's not warranted, if it's not asked, I no longer give it because not everyone needs a some people just need an ear. And I had to teach myself that as well. Not everyone need advice. Some people just need an ear sometimes. Some people just need to get it off. Because there's times where I've just wanted to get something off, but I'm not looking for advice. I'm not looking for pity. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just needing to release it. You know, I mostly write when I vent now. Depending on what it is. I journal a lot, I write it out. That works for me, or I just talk in the mirror, or I talk to God all the time, just talking out loud, like talking to God, talking to myself. Like that's pretty much how I deal with a lot of things. But I'm not against going to anyone. It just depends on what the circumstances are because some people don't listen to feel you or to understand you. They listen to know what is happening in your life. They be nosy, so be mindful of that too. But oh, there's a quote actually. It's kind of relating to it. I actually had a quote that I had wrote down that kind of reminds me of seeing people's potential because I didn't expect to go in that direction. But yeah, if you're someone that sees the potential in everyone regarding yourself and others, I love this quote. The return to yourself is always possible, whether if it's you or someone else. It is just a direct reflection of how much of yourself you're willing to face, meet, and love. So, a part of that potential and me pouring so much to other people and not having the boundaries to be like, okay, you can pour, but pour from a full cup. Me seeing so much potential, some people may not always rise to that potential, and it's because they have to see what you're seeing but within themselves. And if people choose to not see that, or they may have their own timeline and path, we're all on different timelines, we're all on different paths. Everyone awaken when they're meant to awaken. If they're not meant to at that moment, it is not your burden. Like I said, I went in that direction for a reason, so someone needs to hear it. Maybe I needed to hear it. Who knows? um But regarding boundaries too, something else I just seen. You see my handy dandy butterfly book, my notes. Like I said, I've been going over this for the past few days, and it's just been beautiful to witness my growth and how I no longer care how I am perceived. People that are used to benefiting from you not having boundaries are going to call you selfish when you start having boundaries. Like, that's inevitable. They're going to say you're ungrateful. They're going to say you're blah, blah, blah. And it's not because you are selfish, it's not because you are ungrateful. You have to be a little selfish in life. But like, I'm a naturally giving person. So can no one can come and tell me about myself because I've sat with myself long enough to know myself. And I highly recommend that for other people as well. Do not let people tell you who you are. Know yourself enough to know who you are so that you're not depending on the validation or the acceptance or the opinions of others. Please. I say that with so much love. Um, Choosing to put yourself first without the guilt or the shame or taking on the projections of others, because people are going to project onto you. And half the time, those people are just projecting the fact that they can no longer gain from your lack. They can no longer gain from you pouring from an empty cup and pouring into their cup to make theirs full. People are going to dislike the fact that you are putting yourself first. But the entire point of life is to put yourself first. It don't mean that you never do anything for anyone else, that you don't love anyone else. But love should not be attached to what you can do for people. Yes, we all gain. Yes, there's something that we can all give and take from every person and experience in life. That's inevitable. But my point is, if someone in your life is only taking, and that is being called love, that's not love. Love does not require you to abandon yourself. I don't care if it's for family, friends, a relationship. Love does not require you to abandon your better judgment. Love does not require you to put yourself last. Love does not require you to pour from an empty cup so that everyone else's is full. That's not love. That's self abandonment. And I finally know that for myself now too, because being someone that is always giving, that used to always give and that never really received. Like I said, when you're that person that seems to have it all together, like, oh, she never needs to vent. She don't need this. She's good. That has always been me. People, sometimes you can carry your load so well that people think you're not carrying anything at all. And that has been the furthest thing from the truth for me. So I've had to learn how to be that person that I was always being to everyone else, but to myself. And everyone don't like that. I guarantee you. Like I feel energy, I feel intentions, I feel things that are not being said. I know for a fact there are people around me that have seen the switch and they say, oh, she's changed. Yeah. I stopped abandoning myself. I started loving myself more. I started putting myself first. I've started resting without guilt. I've started saying no without guilt. I've started pouring into me without guilt. I have started putting me first. And in that process, my heart is still huge. It's even bigger now. It's even more giving and bigger now because not only am I able to give from a full cup, I'm able to receive. And if I'm not like, I'm no longer attaching my love to what I can do for people or attaching my worth to how anyone else, how I show up for everyone else. I'm worthy and I'm worthy of everything and for love simply for existing. And I say that to whoever's watching as well. You don't have to do to be worthy of love. You don't have to put yourself last. I don't care if it's for family, friends. And I want to touch on family a little bit because blood is thicker than water. That is something I grew up on as well. And I've grown up around a lot of people that have abandoned themselves in their own better judgment for the sake of others, to the point where I took on that same thing because it was normal. Like, you what you see is what you become, especially if you grew up around it. So family had been the one of the main people I've had to set boundaries for. And it's not because, oh, they don't love me or, oh, about like, it's nothing about that. You can love people and they can love you, but if you lack boundaries or if they lack boundaries, that can be just a dysfunctional give and take situation. People expect you to do, or they may even expect themselves to do. Like, I once had someone tell me, "Well, I don't care what I have to do or what I have to put myself last for, I'll do it all for if it means everyone else is okay." that was me as well. As beautiful as that may sound, it actually sounds kind of depressing because self sacrifice should never be the option. Self sacrifice, because if you're not pouring from a full cup, your cup is just tipped over and you're drained, you're depleted. So I always tell people now, please, if anything costs you yourself, if I ask you for anything that you don't want to do, whatever, please don't. I'm not going to look at you any other way. I'm not going to love you any less. I'm not going to feel any type of way because I'm going to say no if I want to say no. I don't care what it's about. Like, my yeses are sacred, and I'm, like I said, my heart is huge, but me having a big heart don't mean I have to sacrifice myself or my better judgment. So I'm done doing that. And it's like I said, someone also needs to hear this out there. Please understand that your boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. Let's see some notes I have here. Holding space for others while no longer abandoning yourself. You can have empathy, unconditional love, and be there for others while not feeling responsible for taking on their weight or their choices. The weight of the world and others is not yours to carry. I'm going to repeat that. The weight of the world and of others is not yours to carry. Let's give an example of a physical sense. Let's say I'm 130 pounds, like maybe 135, I don't know, between that two. Imagine if I decided to be like, you know what, I'm 135 pounds, but I can go over there and carry that person's weight who's about 120. And I can also hold that person's weight who's about 200. That why? Just why? Just why? So yeah, just a crazy example, but when you think about it, it's like that physical weight, 200 extra 200 pounds, extra 120 pounds, whatever, equivalent, like make that equivalent to emotional and mental weight. Think about that in a mental emotional sense because other people's stress and stuff can weigh on you as if it's 200 pounds. That is not yours to carry. And like I said, I'm telling myself this over and over again too, because while yes, I have worked to become the person that have had boundaries, it is still new for me. I've never been this version of myself before, so I'm going to give myself grace. This is all new, but I am committed to this version of me because I've never been more clear. I've never been happier. I've never had a cup that's been this full. And with that, I'm still able to be there for the people I love, but I'm being there from a place of overflow, not from a place of depletion. So yeah, I'm committed to this. Like, let's see what else. Oof, this is one I wrote. No longer letting fear of how your actions of choosing you will affect others. Put my book down for this. No longer letting the fear of how you're going to be perceived or how your actions are going to be taken when you choose yourself and how others are going to feel. People are not always going to like when you do what is best for you. That is not your problem. That is not your weight to carry. That is not something you have to have shame or guilt for. Doing what is best for you and putting yourself first is the crucial key to life because, like I said, if your cup isn't full, what the heck are you pouring from? And this is coming from someone that used to pour from an empty cup religiously. Like I'm talking about without even knowing. I thought my cup was full, honey. It wasn't. And it took my cup being full now for me to realize how much I was operating out of depletion for years. Like, oh, when I say y'all, like the lack of boundaries I've came from, the self abandonment I've came from, like I wasn't just completely just forgetting myself, but at the same time, I kind of was. It's like I was aware, but it felt so normal. It felt normal to show up for everyone else more than I showed up for myself. It felt normal to give, and not receive. I used to always equivalent receiving to me feeling good for how I've helped someone else, which is a beautiful feeling. It's like donating to charity, which I also love to do. When I give to charity, I don't need my phone for proof, for validation. Like, oh, I did this, or I don't need to gain anything from it. Yes, I gain a sense of like warmth in my heart because I've just helped someone, but it's different. Like, it's different. That is different. Like, I'm not giving from an empty cup in that case. Like, donating charity is not giving from an empty cup. If you're able to donate, it's a blessing. But in the like between difference between that and having boundaries of not like over giving is from depletion. Imagine someone had only $1 in their pocket and they gave that dollar away. As beautiful as it may sound of a gesture, like I said, giving your last, taking your shirt off to keep someone else warm, all of those things is what I've heard all my life is what I thought was normal. But why do I need to do that? Like, why do my cup have to be empty and I have to pour from an empty cup in order to get some type of recognition? No. So it's crucial to stop attaching your self-worth and like how you are perceived to what you do. Like, forget how people feel. Forget what people gonna say. People are going to talk about you to the day you die and afterwards. It's nothing you can do about it. You can't fight everyone that says something. You can't change their minds. The only thing you can do is be the most authentic, self-loving, self-caring version of you that you can be, because when you pour into yourself and your cup overflows, you naturally want to just kind of do for others at the same time. But instead of you doing, and only doing, you're able to receive. You're able to be all that you are. Oh, I'm gonna check. Okay, let's see. To end this, somewhat end it. You know what? Let me see. Sorry, y'all. Like I said, I have a sweet potato in the oven, so I stopped my alarm. I might get to go a little bit over anyway. Because it's a little big, but oh, right here. This is what I had to write down. This is what I wrote this down. I think while I was frustrated, I wrote this one down when I was frustrated. I was venting. I said, if your self love and choosing yourself make other people uncomfortable or hate you or make you or come for you or whatever, they don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them. And once you start becoming like just an asset to someone, if they're looking at you only as an asset and not as just, okay, this person may do this for me here and now, or sometimes they don't, I still love them. If that is not how that person is operating, they only care about what they can gain. And if you are around someone that only cares about what they can gain from you, that is not love. That, I don't care who it is, I don't care if it's family, I don't care if it's a friend, I don't care if it's your partner. Hear me when I say, if you having boundaries and you doing what is best for you triggers someone else, that is not love. They only care about what you are doing for them in that present moment. And if it continues on, because I know some people, like I said, you may say no to something someone wants to say yes to, and I'm not saying that they're not going to feel some type of way. I'm not referring to that type, like, but like the people that like it'll just be like, okay, I understand. Like, I'm not referring to those type of people. Just like, okay, I get it. I hate that you're saying no, but I get it. Thank you anyway. I'm not talking about the people that still give you unconditional love. I'm referring to the people that love is conditional based on what you do for them. We all going to be disappointed with the no and a yes in life. That's inevitable. But how people treat you after they feel like they can't gain anything from you, pay attention to that. Pay attention to how people treat you when they feel like you're no longer an asset to them. Pay attention to how people treat you when they see that you're doing what's best for you and loving yourself more. Pay attention to how people treat you when they perceive that you are quote unquote doing better than them. Because some people like to see you do good, but they don't like to see you doing better than them. That's when it's like, oh, hell no. So pay attention and the shock, the shock can be a shock. And it's like, what? But that's just the best way I can put it. Like when you pay attention, it can be some of the people that you thought loved you the most. Like it could be your partner that you're romantic with. You it can be your closest friend that you've always helped, that you've always been there for. And the moment you start doing something more for yourself, it's like all hell breaks loose. Pay attention. Pay attention. Yeah, they wrote that too. Yep. I said, and before I even looked at it, pay attention to how people treat you when they are no longer benefiting from your self abandonment, when they are no longer benefiting from the version of you that you were when you did not have boundaries. People that benefited from you, people that benefited from you not having boundaries and that benefited from you not putting yourself first, they're going to be upset when you start putting yourself first. They're going to call you selfish. They're going to have their opinions. They're probably going to go and even bad talk to you to others. It don't matter. It don't matter. Please do not attach your self-worth or your validation to how people perceive you, especially from people that are only hell bent on taking from you. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. Let's see. And this is, I can talk about this forever because it's like boundaries. Oh, it's been a journey for me. And like I said, this journey is not linear, it is not a destination, it is a lifelong thing. Self love is a lifelong thing, boundaries is a lifelong thing, it is a commitment. And now that I've committed to this version of me that puts me first and that pours only from a full cup, I never want to go back. I never will. There is no going back to me abandoning myself. I will never abandon myself again. My inner child is safe now. My inner teen is safe now. There, my earlier adult, because I'm 28 now, the years, like I said, all of pretty much the years 26 and back. But a lot of my lack of boundaries was definitely like in a relationships I was in. Well, it was really just one, well, two. I did not have the biggest boundaries, and it reflected. I was like, what, 21, 19 to 21, yeah. And then about, I would say 24 to 25, yeah, those time frames, no boundaries. And it's because growing up, I got that people pleasing um I got the people pleasing kink to the point where it led to me not having boundaries and not putting myself first. So of course that's going to travel into my relationships. Of course it's going to travel into friendships. Of course it's going to travel into your adulthood. Everything that all of your core values, no matter what it is, it travels into your adulthood. So of course. So I hug every past version of me when I say I am free. And I pray that whoever is listening to this free themselves as well and understand that loving yourself more will cost you some people. It may cost you some old habits and patterns. It may cost you a bit of loneliness. Not even long. I'm not even gonna say if you're. I mean, yeah, if you're surrounded by people that only by people that take and don't give, and that only are around you because of your lack of boundaries, then yes, when you start putting yourself first and loving you, you're gonna lose people. It may be lonely. If that is your complete circle, yes, it will be lonely. But it's okay because you have yourself now. And I don't want people like, well, no, I like connection. That's fine too. But if the connections that you want cost you yourself, you, that's not worth it. I would much rather be alone. Let's see. You will be the villain. Like I'm wholeheartedly in my villain era. And it's and I used to look at the villain era like, oh, people just doing people wrong and like, oh, well, I mean, some people may call that their villain era, but my villain era is surrounded around me just loving myself more and putting myself first and no longer saying yes when I want to say no. Because people are going to paint you to be the villain when you say no when they want you to say yes. People are going to paint you as the villain when you don't do something that they want you to do that doesn't benefit you or that doesn't help you, that probably put you in a bind, a complete bind, but they want you to do it because, well, I'll do it for you. I would never put this is why I only want people around me now that have a certain like that has immense self-love and boundaries because those people know that they're going to put themselves first and they're not going to ask you to not put yourself first. They're not going to expect you to sacrifice yourself for the sake of them. So I don't know, I just don't want to be around anyone that don't have that self-love. And I say that with so much love for them. Like I will always love everyone. But no. I just no, because you're gonna expect me to sacrifice myself at some point, and I refuse. So no, please put yourself first. I love everyone in my life, and I cheer them on when it comes to putting yourself first and choosing them. And anyone that don't do the same for me will get complete distance from me because it's not selfish putting yourself first. Only like I said, the only people that are gonna paint you as selfish are people that are only trying to gain from you. So yeah, I don't even want to be around anyone that don't understand that. Yeah, just not like when people can't control or manipulate you, you become a problem. You become the villain because they can't be the villain in their own story because being the villain in your own story makes you have to self-reflect. And people don't like to self-reflect. They like to make everyone else the problem. They like to make everyone else the villain. Everyone else is the villain and I'm the victim. Like that is what I don't want to be around at this point in my life. You're not a victim. You may not even be the villain, but you're not the victim. Like I just control and manipulation. When people lose their reins on you, they can no longer ride you like a freaking horse. They're not gonna like that. That is not your problem at all. Like I said, people perceptions around you don't matter either. Like I wrote that. I said if someone told you that you were green when you knew that you were white or black or whatever, are you gonna walk around starting to think that you're green? No. So why should you take any other perceptions of what people think on? Exactly. And with the world of the internet nowadays, I don't know. I don't. Whatever age bracket that is watching this, please, it don't matter what age, because the internet, a lot of it is not real. A lot of people are faking, and yes, there are some realness out there for sure, but people are so hell bent on having an image. Please understand that you don't have to be perfect. In a world that pretends that everything is perfect, it's not. Half the time, the people that are so busy trying to quote unquote fix themselves, whether if it's, let's use in a physical sense, veneers. I'm not judging anyone out there that has veneers. If you're listening, that's your personal choice. We all have free will. But everyone that have had veneers or that has veneers say the same thing. They are in immense pain. They wish they could just undo it all. They've had to go back and get their teeth done several times. Like all because, you know, and I mean, it's nothing wrong with wanting your teeth to look a certain way, but I promise you, the dentist can help you in other ways. Veneers is not the only option. But that quote unquote perfect look that everyone is trying to obtain, nothing is meant to be perfect. I love my cricket smile. It's my signature. I have no desire to change it. I used to want to change it, but now I don't. I love it immensely. But I know that everyone don't have that. And unfortunately, sometimes the lack of self-love can cost you because once you shave your teeth down, I don't know the process of veneers, but once you shave your teeth down, hun, you can't get them back. You only get one set. And the nerves in your teeth are attached to your brain. So I'm just trying to, I can't even comprehend the pain that they're in right now. I've had two pains. And to know the immense pain that they be describing, oh my gosh, I'm just moving on. Just I feel prayers to anyone that is going through that because oh yeah, like just you don't need to be perfect in this world. You're worthy and deserving and beautiful and enough and exceptional exactly as you are in this present moment as all that you are. Natural hair, wig, haircut, no haircut, beard, no beard, freaking veneers, no veneers, whatever. You are worthy. Boundaries and no boundaries. You're worthy even without your boundaries. But please notice that you are worthy and that you having boundaries makes you recognize your own self-worth. That's the key. You got to know that you're worthy. Let's see. I think I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna eat dinner. Like I said, I had my Epsom salt bath and I took me a shower afterwards. And now I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna read. And I don't know, I kinda wanna binge watch a show. I may watch Bridgerton. I've seen all of the seasons over and over again, but I just love me some Bridgerton, man. So yeah, I feel like that's what I'm about to do. So to anyone, anyone out there that needs to hear it again, do not sacrifice yourself for the sake of others. Do not put yourself on fire to keep others warm. Do not attach your self-worth or your validation to anything outside of yourself. And please know that your boundaries are sacred. I love yous to yourself. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Boundaries are not selfish. The only people that say boundaries are selfish or putting yourself first is selfish are the people that want to just gain something from you. And when people no longer gain anything from you, you become the problem. Get comfortable with being the problem as long as it's not cost you yourself. So, peace, love, and blessings. I hope you have a blessed week. And yeah, God bless.